We are live. How about you, everybody? Welcome into the Auburn Live call-in show. I'm your host, Jeffrey Lee, Senior Recruiting Editor for Auburn Live on 3. Today is Sunday, October the 8th, 2023. Auburn did not lose this weekend, and we're going to talk about the non-loss. Here with me, as always, when he is here, Mr. Jhead, Mr. Zach from the back coming to the front. How about you, fellas?
How about you, brother?
How about you, man?
Hey, that's Zach's first. How about you?
Yeah, I like it.
How about you, man? Cole Pinkston, believe it or not, is stranded in a boat in the middle of the lake and is probably listening to the show on his phone, wondering why in the hell I'm on a boat when it's 60 degrees outside.
You know,
Kids, man, kids.
Things in life. It's in a boat, 60 degrees. You don't take a knee when you got 30 seconds left to go in a game.
Oh, Mario.
Things that boggle the mind, Jay.
Oh, take a knee, big dog. Oh, that hurt.
It did, man.
That hurt. It hurt. It was fun to watch. I don't know why.
Like
Fun to watch.
Just a train wreck. You cannot.
Well, when you do stuff like that, you hope it happens to teach them a lesson. Like, what are you doing? And you know, if the guy gets tackled, we're talking about Miami, Georgia Tech for you people who haven't watched the announced football all weekend. You got what you deserved. You effed around and you found out.
Yes, you effed around, you found out. And this isn't the first time he did it, because he also did it when he was at Oregon against Stanford, and the same thing happened.
No way.
Yeah. It was the second time in it was like 2018 or something like that.
2018, 2019. It was his first couple of years there. But no lesson learned, Jeffrey. We're just still cruising along.
Whoopsie daisy. All right, let's get some phone calls tonight, folks. 701-779-9585. We don't have anything specific we want to talk about. We want you to dictate the subjects, the topics. Before we get to the phone line, we're going to say, if you're looking for a home in or around Auburn, Opelika, Lee County, Alabama, look no further for the help you need. Miss Jessica Andrus, she is a 5-star realtor with the Talents Group. Give her a call, 334-704-4442. She can help you find what you're looking for. She can get the house you want to get out of. She can get that thing sold. Even in this market, folks, she can get it done. Give her a call, 334-704-4442. Tell her we sent you. All right, Zach, how do we look on the phone lines right now?
We got 3 people.
Interesting. I like it. Let's get right to them, big dog. We have nothing to opine about tonight. I will say this. If somebody in the chat has a POW suggestion, I was going to tell Cole tonight, and I know if he's listening, he'll be surprised to hear this, but let me ask you two. How many towels? Do you use a new towel every time you take a shower?
No, I try to get at least 2 uses out of it.
I hear you, big dog.
You know, I'm cheap, man.
Me too.
I'm not trying not to spend extra money on laundry detergent. And if it air dries, typically speaking, the second time it's okay. You start getting the third and fourth use, you can feel the dampness creeping in.
Dude, I use like one a week. Don't tell anybody, man. But listen, this goes back to my single days, right? Where it was me and Brooks, and I was like, look, we're going to use the same towel. I'd wash, a load of clothes once a week. And it's just how I've been since then. And here I am, 47 years old, and I'm still using one towel. I'll hang it up, I dry it. What else are those hooks for in your bathroom?
Right. I mean, I guess if you're wearing some kind of a robe or whatnot, but I didn't come from that kind of money, so I don't wear robes. You know what I mean?
Zach, do you use one every night? You're a bachelor, dude. Yeah, you reuse your towel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Twice. I usually just do twice and then get a new one.
Okay.
I'm 2 to 3 times somewhere in there.
All right. I think that's I think Cole would be surprised to know that I use one towel.
From a hygiene standpoint,
right?
You are hot now, brother. So to find out that you're using a towel all week, because fiscal responsible side of you, I like it, man.
I got my priorities in order. All right, Zach, get us to the phone line, Beto. Let's go with that one. Do you reuse your towel shower? You reuse your shower towel.
2822 You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Hello.
How about you?
How's it going, guys?
Oh, it's going good. Who we talking to? Where are you from?
This is Cole. I'm calling from Knoxville, Tennessee.
Knoxville, up in the hills, big dog. What's up, Cole? What's on your mind tonight?
Man, I called in a couple times, but I haven't been able to call in the past several times you've done the show. First of all, just want to say the show's phenomenal.
Oh, thank you.
And there is one particular thing that I think you guys do that other people don't do, and it's specifically a shout out to Cole Pinkston, is he does those scripts.
Oh, yeah.
Scripts to plays.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And that leaves me going to bed at night with more peace at mind, because I just don't go to bed thinking that we're just awful. So shout out to that.
Oh, yeah. Cole, if y'all are listening, man, Cole Pinkston breaks down every play of every game that Auburn plays. Phenomenal job. It's so interesting to get his point of view, which I think everybody here trusts and respects. And you can get that at Auburn Live on 3. Little plug there. Auburn Live on 3. We still got a promotion going first month for $1. You can get it now for $1. All right, Cole, what else you got for us, big dog?
So I've watched over the summer, after we hired Hugh Freeze and then we hired our offense coordinator. The reason I love the script so much is because I'm a football nerd. Used to be a football coach, not a coach anymore. I'm a pastor now, but I nerd out over just X's and O's stuff.
Awesome.
And I've watched the Georgia game back a couple times, and I just want to get y'all's thoughts on this. Maybe you've not thought about it. Maybe you have thought about it. So after watching a lot of Hugh Freeze over the summer and a lot of our offense coordinator at Tulsa over the summer, there is to me, there's clear influence. There's a clear distinction when Hugh Freeze has his hand in something and when he doesn't. And I'll give you the distinction, and then maybe you can say, oh yeah, I've seen that, or I haven't seen that. And it's out of actually the same formation. I think it's the second drive of the game. Peyton Thorne takes that long run down the sideline. I absolutely love that formation when it's used in that way. There's lots of misdirection. We got Brandon Frazier and Luke Deal in the game at the same time. We have Peyton Thorne making a read and them having to figure out how to do something. They got to make a decision. One thing that I've noticed about Hugh Freeze is that he puts so much pressure on defenders to make the right call really quickly. And I feel like when our OC has his hands in things, he puts so much pressure on Peyton Thorne to make the right decisions quickly. And I know that there is kind of you have to kind of do both. But I feel like for Thorne on that play that he busted down the sideline, it's no more for him than a zone read. If the dude if the dude crashes, take that thing and do what you did. If he sits, hand it off. And he obviously made the right read, and Brandon Frazier and Luke Deal got out there and made their blocks. But then later in the game, we line up in this same formation twice. Robbie Ashford's in the game one time. And we give the ball off to Jarquez, if I'm not mistaken, on a straight. I mean, it is a my dude is bigger and badder than your dude. We're playing lead fullback, meet you in the hole football. And we get stopped on 4th down and we get stopped on 3rd down out of the same formation. And so I've wondered if you guys have noticed any of that in your watching, but then also, do you not think that when Hugh has because Hugh has said this on numerous occasions, there is a talent gap, and there is. Like when you watch us play dudes, you see their dudes versus our dudes, and you're like, we don't have those dudes. We have a couple, especially on defense. Like we have a couple on defense. But have you guys noticed, or have you been able to pick up when Hugh is like, his hand's all in this versus when his hand's not in this? And have you noticed that it's more, I'm about to put this defender in a tough spot versus we're fixing to come at you and just we're trying to mash your face off. You guys ever noticed any of that?
So I will tell you this, and I know you described two plays. The first one was a stutter read from the quarterback where you had a pin by the tight end on the outside there. And then you also mentioned those lead plays that we ran to Jarquez. To my understanding, Hugh Freeze called that entire game. That was not Philip Montgomery calling that game. So both those plays are credited to Hugh Freeze. That's not a situation where I believe that Montgomery's influence was in play. Have I noticed the influence of Hugh Freeze on the offense and specifically the play calls, the wide receiver splits, things like that? Absolutely. And I think Hugh's influence is only going to continue to increase, but his fingerprints were all over the Georgia game. I want to give credit where credit is due. I don't want to steal material from somebody else. A guy by the name of Tyler Siskey, a former director of player personnel for both Hugh Freeze and Nick Saban, has his own podcast. He was actually a wide receiver coach for Hugh Freeze at Arkansas State. He said that Hugh, and he credited Philip Montgomery as being a fantastic offensive mind, but he said Hugh Freeze, and this is a guy that coached with Lane Kiffin. This is a guy that's coached with multiple other offensively talented coordinators, Billy Napier and multiple others. Said Hugh Freeze is a top 5 offensive play caller in the game, in his opinion, and that's throughout the duration of his career. He thought that highly of Hugh Freeze, not just necessarily play design, but in-game play calling and having a feel for it. And to me, that's what I noticed that last game. There were timely play calls, and even when things were miscues, look, Jarquez has a hole on that third down call, and he just missed it. And if we don't hit the high snap on fourth down, we pop that play as well. So realistically, that was kind of an execution thing more than it was not necessarily scheming the play correctly. But yes, I've definitely noticed Freeze's influence on the offense. I've seen some of the Browse flair as well, which is a lot of what Philip Montgomery does from that veer and shoot type offense. I'm going to turn it over to Jeffrey and Zach now. But yeah, you can tell when he's calling plays. You can feel it. There's a little bit of a different flow in the game.
One thing really quick, because most people are like this. I'm totally cool with being wrong. I hope Hugh Freeze calls every play for the rest of his time at Auburn. I don't care who else calls plays. If you called that play, awesome. We just didn't execute. Great.
Yeah, hey, so I don't know. This was a perfect night for Cole to miss. This has been perfect for Cole to be here to respond to his own stuff. He would know a lot more about it than I do. The only reason I know that Hugh Freeze had a big deal in the Georgia game is because somebody told me that would know. I don't notice all that. I'm a casual fan when I'm watching the game. I don't know what to look for. I'm watching the ball. So, but Cole Pinkston's the one who, I mean, I noticed some things, but as far as that, I can't. My eyes don't discern. Oh, yeah, that was a Philip Montgomery guy right there, or his scheme. I don't know what the hell that. Zach, do you watch it like? I mean, I'm not looking at whether the guard's pulling or, I don't know. If he gets tackled, let me watch the replay and see where that guy came from.
Well, I think if you look at the approach, like if you take the Cal game, which Hugh Freeze called that last drive, including the game-winning touchdown to Rivaldo Fairweather in the corner. The only thing I would push back a little bit on is I don't think the difference between Montgomery and Freeze is necessarily one puts Thorne thinking too much and the other puts the defender thinking too much. Because you look at that Rivaldo Fairweather play, Freeze was like, that's man on man, my guy's better than your guy. We're going to put it up there. I just think he picks his shots a little bit differently when it's one-on-one, my guy's better than your guy, compared to Montgomery. But when you look at the Cal game versus the Georgia game, you can see the small, intricate details of terms of how the run was set up, some of the passing concepts, how the wide receivers had to make decisions. So you can definitely tell Hugh Freeze was more involved. I do agree with you there. I just don't think the distinction is the decision making in terms of the quarterback. I don't think that's the big like focal point of the difference between the two offenses.
No, and I think they both put a lot of post-snap adjustment on the wide receiver and the quarterback in that type of an offense. I think they're aligned from their overall philosophy. So as far as pressure on the quarterback, I do think they simplified the route tree some and it took out some of the option routes that they've had to kind of make sure that guys knew the depth and distance that they needed to get to on certain pass patterns, and that Peyton could trust it a little bit more. You could tell that he was guessing somewhat in that A&M game, not necessarily knowing where guys were going to be. Well, now I don't have to anticipate what the receiver's going to do. I know what the receiver's going to do. Now that also simplifies your offense and makes you a little bit easier to scheme. And I think they're going to continue to phase option routes back in, but they needed to take it back down a notch for a game or two to make sure guys were where they were supposed to be and that Thorne could start to develop some chemistry there.
And do you think, I think, I mean, you may disagree with me on this, but I can see the clear difference. And you mentioned this, the only reason I bring it up, that deer in the headlights look that everybody was like, that's what Peyton looked like after A&M. And then everybody, like, they're kind of feeling pretty good about Peyton about after Georgia. And I think it's just a confidence thing. And I think it's because of exactly what you've said. I've played football. I've coached football. When you don't know what to do, that's what you look like. It looks like what happened against A&M. And when you do know what to do, looks what it looked like against Georgia, even though we didn't get the outcome, but I thought it was great.
It wasn't on him.
Future's bright.
No,
right.
And Zach, I want you to jump in here, but I think that's also plays into Peyton's history a little bit too. At Michigan State, he never really truly performed fantastic when he was on the road. When he's in the friendly confines at home, when he's had his best games. And I felt like he was dialed in. And I do think that home atmosphere at Jordan-Hare absolutely helped him in that game. That's one of the things I'm watching as we go into Baton Rouge. How does he perform on the road in this game? Because if you look at the two road performances this year, both Cal and A&M, those have been his worst two performances. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes.
Hey, Cole.
And then I'm going to get off here.
Hey, well, you got to answer my question, big dog.
Okay. What is it?
Do you use a fresh towel every night?
Oh, no. No.
You get a couple of days use out of.
Couple of days use, you at least got to do that. It's poor stewardship if you don't.
I like it.
Look at you, Cole. I like it.
I like it.
I mean, nobody wants to pay $800 a month for laundry detergent.
I like this guy. Cole, we appreciate you.
My last question. Of all of our recruits and targets, I've had time to go and watch some huddle stuff with our current commits. And I'll make this. I don't remember a time, and I'm not old, but I started following recruiting in probably 2007.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember a time us ever having a dude that I looked at and saw that looked like Perry Thompson, and I was like, man, that dude could play today if we needed him to. But my question is, out of all of our recruits and all of our targets, who are you the most impressed with watching right now that maybe like, man, this isn't like a clear thing that people should see, but when you watch him, you're like, man, that dude can ball.
I know mine right now.
Mine is Bryce Kane, and then the one is Nye Carr, even though he's just a target.
Bryce Kane, certainly for me.
Yeah. That's mine. I mean,
Cole would probably say TJ Lindsey. He really likes TJ Lindsey.
Yes.
DJ Barber.
Yes, DJ's a dude. It's
defensive backfield.
There's
some dudes in this class.
Jalewis Salmon has had fantastic senior year. I mean, he really has. From a target standpoint, I mean, look, you don't get much prettier on tape than what KJ Bolden looks like, right? You know what I mean? He's young, but and this is from a target standpoint, but when you watch Juju Lewis,
I haven't watched him.
he is the absolute real deal. And you called it. I mean, you were like, Alan, did you see this? But no, he has some of the most impressive arm talent I have ever seen for a 16-year-old. I mean, it is just insane what he can do.
Where is he?
He's at
Carrollton.
Yeah.
All right. So when you go watch the tight end from Carrollton,
Caleb Odom.
When you go watch Caleb Odom, that's Juju spinning the ball there. And look.
Is he a quarterback?
Yeah.
Yes.
I can watch quarterbacks now.
Yeah.
He's a baller too. I mean, for a young guy, it's insane how developed he is.
Yeah.
2026?
2026. Watched him against who is that? Air Nolan play for?
Langston Hughes.
Watched him against Langston Hughes. Langston Hughes does a perfect cover 2 drop. I mean, they've got everybody covered, and Juju hits the whole shot in a way that you would expect a college senior to hit it. I mean, I'm talking about legit arm talent, Jeffrey.
Okay.
You should pop and give it a watch. And then if it's a real response, ask somebody on the coaching staff off the record, what do you think about Juju?
Okay.
So as a sophomore right now, Jeffrey, he's thrown 18 touchdowns, no interceptions, has completed over 66% of his passes this year.
Is he a tall kid or is he
6'1", 6'2"?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll definitely I can spot a quarterback. I can tell you if they're really, really good or if they're just really good.
Watch that one.
All right.
That'll be one. Now he's currently committed to USC and Lincoln Riley, if that gives you any hint on how
Okay.
It's going to be scary if he continues to develop and ends up with them. It's going to be a problem.
Okay.
Yeah. But of our current commits, Bryce Kane, to me, I saw his clips from his junior year, and you could see the electricity on tape. Fast forward to his senior year and how much of a jump he's taken. Yeah, he's underranked in my opinion. I'm on 3. He's the only person that's got him as a top 200 prospect. I think every recruiting service industry-wide will have him top 200 before this year's over.
All right. Hey, Cole, appreciate you call, big dog. Really good, man. You kept us going for about 15 minutes there, I think. Let's not let anybody else hold any longer. Who you got for us, Zach?
8212. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from? (8212). You're live.
8212. Say it. Say it.
We'll move on. You can call back in. 1510. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
It's Henderson. I just called from Shelbyville, Tennessee.
Oh man, who is it from Shelbyville?
Henderson, right?
Henderson.
Yeah. What's on your mind tonight, Henderson?
Hey, I got a feeling we finna show out.
Come on now. Settle down.
Hey, I'm just saying. I just got a feeling. I got a feeling they got a vibe off that Georgia game. I think the spirits are high. I think we're gonna shock somebody.
Henderson, you really think Auburn? Listen, did you watch LSU in Arkansas yesterday? I mean, not LSU in Arkansas.
Yeah, I watched LSU.
It was
I watched LSU.
Missouri.
I watched LSU and Ole Miss. LSU defense ain't that good. We've had a week off to prepare, and Hugh Freeze is a smart guy. I think he got something for him.
In Baton Rouge at night, Peyton Thorne on the road.
Yeah.
I mean, you couldn't draw up a worse scenario.
I know that, but I think Peyton Thorne, man, got a little bit of confidence playing against Georgia and playing one of the best defenses in the country. and actually being able to move around and control the game.
I hope you're right, Henderson. I do. The problem for me is, and I'm going to be on the record, and I've been on the record on saying this, I love the Ole Miss matchup significantly better for us next week than 2 weeks than I do this LSU game. LSU is susceptible in the secondary. They have major flaws and issues there. I mean, all you got to do is watch what Missouri did to them this past Saturday. The issue to me is, do we have the receivers that can take advantage of that? Because if we're going to run out the same game plan that we had against UGA, LSU's defensive front is legit. I mean, they're not weak there. I don't love the linebackers, but the defensive line is nasty. Mason Smith, a handful of other guys. I mean, they got some dudes up front. And then, like Jeffrey said, then you're going into a place that traditionally we just have not played well, specifically at night, minus Bo Nix going just Super Mario Brothers in that game and taking it over by himself and being backyard Bo. Also, one of the hellacious run by Jarquez Hunter on that reverse toss sweep.
Oh, yeah.
Called. But, Henderson, what gives you confidence? Like, what's that feeling? What's driving that, brother?
What gives me confidence is our defense, especially our secondary. They play pretty tight, and I know LSU can throw the ball. They air it out, but I just think our defense is gonna stand tall, and I think our offense is gonna do enough to win the game. And Brian Kelly, I'm not confident. I don't have confidence in Brian Kelly.
I hear you.
Fair.
Yeah, very fair. I think Auburn's defense.
Of course, I've watched LSU play the last 2 weekends. If Brian Kelly would do something I'm like, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
coaches calls. Like, what are you doing that will cost them the game?
The good thing about Auburn's defense, especially on the road, is they're susceptible to creating turnovers. And if you're going to go into LSU and think you're going to have a chance to win, you're going to have to create some turnovers. You're going to have to flip the ball on LSU. Auburn's been able to do that. Auburn's been able to do that at Cal. They were able to do that at A&M. They were obviously able to do that against UGA. So if you're going to go down there and have a chance to win, you're going to have to create some turnovers. Good thing for Auburn, they have a defense that's very good at doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, can Peyton Thorne not turn it over on the road? We haven't seen him not do that yet. Is he giving it back to them?
I can see your thought on like Peyton Thorne being nervous. I just think I do think that we have a good chance if we're gonna pull one. I think this might be the one we're gonna do it.
Whew.
And another thing too, I can't think his name. The quarterback, LSU quarterback, got hurt in that Missouri game. He got a and you can see it was hurting him bad.
That, my friend, is. I was watching the game and I was thinking the same thing. If you're Auburn, you hope that kid needs help getting off the field because that dude is nasty.
He is. Now he's got a backup that can sling it too. This is a situation where
LSU, be careful what you ask for.
Yeah, be careful what you ask for because this kid came in the SEC championship game and absolutely lit UGA up. And it doesn't hurt that his daddy's a former NFL coordinator. So,
who is he?
Nussmeier.
Oh, yeah. Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Well, I think Auburn probably would have a better chance with a passing quarterback than somebody who can,
This both, yeah. And he's that kid's, listen, LSU's quarterback is the real deal, man. You put him on Auburn's roster.
Yeah, right.
You
hey, Henderson, you get a couple of uses out of your bath towel?
Oh, yeah. I'm at least go a week.
All right. Man, we are hitting it out of the park tonight.
Usually about every Saturday we watch Kyle.
I hear you, big dog. I'm okay with that, man. I wonder if it's a male-female thing.
Yes, dude. Yeah, listen. Have a female. Get Jessica's opinion on this. Have this called in.
She's every night.
Yeah.
She's every night. All right, Henderson, I've got you down, big dog. I've got you down. Auburn with the upset at LSU.
Right. I got one question before I go, though.
All right.
Out of the 2024 class, as far as recruits, what receivers do we have left that we're targeting to put in this class?
Three of the top ones. You've got Cam Coleman, the 5-star wide receiver from Central, who was back in A&M yesterday for the Alabama game. Not that. He was there for an unofficial visit.
Yes.
And then you've got Nye Carr, who's decommitted from Georgia, who I think everybody thinks he's going to Miami at this point. And then you've got, don't forget about Ryan Williams. He's another in-state 5-star kid. He's committed to Alabama. He's a 2025 guy, but there's a lot of he's trying to reclassify. He's in the process of getting that done. So I think you throw him in the mix as well. Those three right there are your top dogs. Don't forget about Jhead's JUCO kid, Deion Smith, from Holmes Community College in Mississippi. Auburn isn't pushing real hard for him, but they did offer him, I think, about a week and a half ago, maybe. Jhead, is that right?
That's correct. About a week and a half to 2 weeks ago. And I'm with you. I think they're going to push on the high school kids. And then if they just feel like, hey, this is not going to happen, they're going to turn real hard on Deion Smith. I mean, and or somebody else that they decide to offer.
It's certainly somebody to keep an eye on, Henderson. But those four guys right there, as far as we know, are the top four guys remaining on the board.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate it, man. I listen to y'all every weekend, man. War Eagle, fellas.
Appreciate you, Henderson. Appreciate you calling and appreciate your loyalty as a listener, man. Always like to hear from old Shelbyville. Does that keep us going, big dog?
Also, just to note, the chat posted a few times. Nycar did commit to Miami today.
Did he?
Yes,
Yeah,
about 2 hours ago.
Well, dang. Yeah, I was on my way back from the hunting land.
I don't blame you. You didn't miss nothing.
That was one of those. Listen, that's a Tommy Tuberville timed commitment.
There you go.
Yes.
Well played, Mario. Well played.
Yes.
8212. You're live. Who we talking to?
There he is.
Okay. First of all, let me apologize. This is Paul from Hartselle. I had called earlier, and I'm out on my walk because I'm old and fat, and I got to do something about one of them.
That's what I'm talking about.
And I had the phone playing the show, but of course it's a delay. So I said, okay, now you just got to be smart and execute your plan, and you won't be one of them morons that gets on there and they're listening to the show and they're not saying anything. So anyway, it was like I didn't read the blitz, and I didn't hit the hot route.
Hey, you know what?
And we got disconnected. Reminded me of the Nick Marshall. I don't know if it was Trey Mason. It was 2014. Auburn was playing Texas A&M, and they were on the 4, and they ran the option, and Marshall could have kept it and scored, and he could have handed it off and scored, but they fumbled it. Do y'all remember who the guy was that was the running back?
What year?
2014.
2014.
Is that Cameron Artis
Payne? Of the 2014 season.
Yeah,
Cap.
It's Cameron Artis Payne.
Okay, I didn't think it was Trey Mason, but he's the only one I could think of. But that's correct. Anyway, that's not why I called. Had a question about Auburn, and then a non-football question about Jaden Daniels.
Okay.
As far as Auburn goes, in my opinion, somebody from the wide receiver group is going to have to step up if they're going to compete with LSU, Ole Miss. And so my question is, who do y'all think will be the one or two guys that's going to step up and help Auburn?
I knew that's where Jeffrey was going.
I'm having faith in my boy, man. I'm telling you, watch out for 4 coming up.
I do think you're going to see Camden Brown and Amari Kelly get increased snaps. Javarius Johnson, Jay Fair are going to continue to get their healthy rotation, and it will help this team to get JJ back and healthy. I think he was dealing with a hamstring this past game against UGA, and he got injured. He got nicked up against A&M. But we're more explosive when he's in the game, and then I think you're going to continue to see Rivaldo Fairweather be very featured in this offense. I mean, he's a playmaker, and he's a mismatch when you get him on a linebacker or a safety. So as Peyton Thorne develops, I think you're going to see Rivaldo Fairweather's stats start to take a move forward.
I do like Rivaldo Fairweather.
Go ahead.
I liked Rivaldo getting 8 targets against Georgia, and I hope that's what he's getting every game, 8 to 10 targets a game. I really do think he's a difference maker. He's somebody that can help Auburn, immensely.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I agree. I mean, to me, if you ever get Fairweather, if they run that where they got trips to one side and he's on the other side, if there's not help, it's just automatic. You take it, throw it to him, let him go get it. And I think I don't know anything about it, but I think Camden Brown can be that type of receiver too.
I agree.
Because he just looks like a dude. He may be a player or he may be a person in a uniform, but he looks like a dude.
I think sometimes with young kids, the game just has to slow down just a little bit. With a kid like Camden that's got all the physical attributes, he wasn't necessarily the featured guy at St. Thomas Aquinas. There were other guys that were on that team. I think he's learning, probably still developing somewhat, but I think it's coming. Like, I think there are people around the program that feel like Camden Brown is ready to take a step forward. Does he? That's on him. You know what I mean? But I think the game has started to slow down somewhat, and we'll see what he can do the back half of this season.
Okay, and as far as Jaden Daniels, this is no disrespect. I just saw this, and I figured one of you three would know what I'm talking about. Any of y'all ever watch My Name is Earl?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Okay. Does Jaden Daniels not look like Crabman?
Oh, he does.
I mean, every time I see him, I can hear Earl say, "Hey, Crabman."
Crabman. He sure does, man.
Yeah.
Paul.
And as far as your question about the towel,
Thank you.
I'm not proud to say this. I'm using that thing until it becomes a Brillo pad.
Oh. You remember Tim the Toolman Taylor?
Yeah.
That was terrible imitation, wasn't
Well,
it?
that was actually not bad. I'm going to
Okay.
be honest, man.
I hear you, Paul.
Enjoy your show, guys. And y'all have a great week.
Good deal, big dog. Go get you a breather, man. Get you some water.
I need a Pepsi Zero is what I need, but
Yeah.
I'll just settle for water. I didn't get this body drinking water.
Okay.
Hey.
All right. 8861. You're live. Who we talking to? Where you calling from?
Kevin from Wilmer, Alabama.
Oh, Kevin. Kevin, let me ask you a question. Have you been to the hamburger joint yet?
No, not yet.
Oh, I told you got to go try that hamburger joint out. I can't
I
remember.
think Peyton Thorne will have a good game against LSU.
You do?
Yeah.
Good enough?
Yeah, we will win 30-21.
I'm writing that down, Kevin. 30-21.
And how about DeMarcus Reddick, Bryce Kane, Walker White, and Perry Thompson?
Hey, let me tell you what. You just named 4 of the guys who are probably the most solid to Auburn of any 4 in this class. Kevin, you keep checking on those 4. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But Walker White's not going anywhere. Bryce Kane is not going anywhere. DeMarcus Reddick is not going anywhere. And I feel just as good about Perry Thompson as I do Walker White. Perry Thompson is in.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he's actively recruiting for Auburn. I mean, actively recruiting. Yeah, he's all in on Hugh Freeze, and I think Hugh Freeze has promised him. Like, he's not told him he's going to start, but I think he's promised Perry, absolutely, you are going to get every chance to touch the field this time next year, and that's all Perry needed to hear.
Yeah, Kevin, I listen, this is recruiting, so anything can happen. Absolutely. So there's no qualms about asking about these guys each week, but every but those four continue to be as solid as anybody in this class.
9517. You're live. Who we talking to? Where you calling from?
Oh, hey, what's up, fellas?
How about you?
How about you, big dog?
Hey!
Hey,
This is AJ from Memphis, Tennessee. I'm a first-time caller.
All right, AJ from Memphis.
All right.
What's on your mind tonight, big dog?
I discovered y'all. I'm sorry?
Keep talking. You discovered us.
I discovered y'all while trying to find more Auburn podcasts to listen to while I was running my Bonnie Plant route this year. So I'm very grateful for y'all.
Awesome, dude. We appreciate it, AJ.
no, thank you, AJ.
Yes. To harken back to one of y'all's questions a little while ago, funny story. Y'all said y'all talk on the phone while using the turlet.
The turlet.
My buddy, who I played high school football with, and I always cut out in second period before football practice, and we carried that into college, where we'd call each other at about 2:00 sitting on the toilet.
The old double down. I hear you, brother.
Just checking in, huh? Making sure everything's coming out all right.
Yeah, making sure we're all regular.
That's a very intimate moment.
I gotta agree. I use a towel about, probably till I can't no more.
All right.
Till I'm worried about it.
Man, I tell you what, I am so pleased to hear this. I thought I was going to be on an island here.
It's a male-dominated.
No, I'm also single. So.
Well, that's where I got my start too. But glad to know we're all.
I got a couple questions for y'all.
Shoot.
Are there any injury updates that we have regarding like Damari or Keontae that y'all have heard of, how they're doing?
Yes. Justin Hokanson had an update. I think it was later last week. Keontae, if y'all jump in here if I'm wrong. Zach, you probably heard Justin talk about this on the show. Justin's our team guy, so he probably knows more than we do on that. But reports are that Keontae's out for a while.
Yeah. Probably ish.
Yeah. Hopefully get him back for the finales. But Damari is hopeful that he can go against LSU.
Okay. Well, I like to hear that about Damari. He's a workhorse.
Yes.
The other question I had was, do y'all feel like our hardest games are over? Because it seems like Alabama's kind of getting their sea legs.
I was going to say absolutely not. I think that Iron Bowl is going to be really, really, really difficult. Alabama's defense is probably going to be the best one we'll have faced all season. I mean, I'm very high on what they have in the back end and in the front seven. So that's going to be a really tough game for us. I do like this run we're about to go on of matchups. And look, I know I'm crazy because Ole Miss can score, as well as anybody. I like the Ole Miss matchup. I'm not scared of Mississippi State. Vanderbilt, they don't do anything for me. And Arkansas is human, guys. And
yeah,
I don't know where that team's mentally going to be. Are they going to be checked out by the time Auburn gets there? So, I mean, you're going to go on a streak where you can really win about 3 or 4 games here, and then you cap that off with New Mexico State. So 4 to 5 games you can really run off here. I mean, this is going to be a chance for you once you get on the other side of LSU to kind of really change the trajectory of your season.
I agree, Jhead. I think after this game, I don't see a non-winnable game on the schedule. Like, I really don't. Listen, folks, I'm sorry. I'm just going to give it to you straight. I hate the matchup against LSU. I hate the matchup against LSU. I don't like it. I don't like what I saw yesterday from LSU's offense, regardless of what their defense is. Man, I don't think Auburn can score enough points to keep up with them. I just don't.
You would have to run the football and keep them off.
Yeah. And I'm not saying it can't happen, but I just don't like – I don't think LSU – I hate to say I don't think LSU's a winnable game for Auburn. I just don't think it's going to happen. I'll be absolutely shocked.
I would be as shocked. Do you remember when Brandon Cox went into Gainesville and beat Florida that year? Yes. Yeah, that's the kind of game it would take from Auburn to win that LSU game. Florida had the same level of skill talent on the outside, had Tim Tebow at quarterback. It would take us controlling the clock completely and frustrating them to the point of keeping them off the field. But eventually that dam's going to break. They're going to score, and you have to make sure that you've scored enough to withstand.
But I hate that game. After that, though, dude, I wouldn't bet against Auburn head-to-head straight up against Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Alabama. Who else is left? Vanderbilt, New Mexico State. Now, don't get me wrong. Milroe was a little bit better in his intermediate passing game yesterday.
Yeah.
But you take away that Burton kid, dude, that's all he had, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big game.
I mean, the Alabama did not run the football against A&M. And look, we said it on the show. A&M's got a legit front seven. I mean,
yes,
and absolutely, and they took them out in the running game. But Alabama was able to expose the back end, and that's A&M's weakness there.
I'm not saying Auburn's that good. I'm just saying I don't think they're that good. I'm sorry, Paul. I'm not sorry, AJ. What'd you say?
Oh, you're straight. I was just agreeing. At Iron Bowl, we always say we don't know what's going to happen in Jordan-Hare, but I don't feel super great about it, but I'm so grateful it's going to be in Auburn. Last question, so I won't hold y'all up any longer. Is there a show? Well, actually, this is a two-parter. One question for next week and then one question for next year. The question for this upcoming week is, since LSU is not great defending the run, do we see more Robbie?
I don't think so.
I think it depends on the flow of the game. If Peyton gets it going early, probably about the same of what you saw against Georgia. If Peyton's not effective, I think this coaching staff has shown that they will absolutely pull him out of the game. So it really depends on how Peyton Thorne does, and is he getting into a rhythm, because he's a rhythm player. And if he's not in a rhythm, can you get him in? And if not, you got to change it out.
Yeah. And then my other question was, is there a chance, let's say Peyton and Robbie come back next year, assuming that neither of them transfer out, is there a chance that Walker White could start?
No.
Week one, maybe not. But if it falls apart during the season, I won't say
sure.
100% no, but week one would be a stretch.
No, I'm with you, Zach. Week one, absolutely not. Week 10, I'll give you 30% shot.
You as an Auburn fan, you hope not.
Yeah.
Listen, nothing against Walker, dude.
Yeah, that's true.
But you hope that Auburn's not dire enough to start a true freshman.
Let me put it like this. If we're at the point where both that Peyton and Robbie return,
Which I don't think is going to happen,
and we don't add anybody else, then that means that one of those two has solidified themselves as the dude. All right. I just don't think Walker White is going to get on the field as a freshman, because I think either one of these two guys is going to be the guy, or they're going to go get a guy from the portal. I don't think they're going to sit back and wait on a freshman. I think Hugh Freeze knows my clock at Auburn is, it's running. And I don't have time to wait on a freshman to truly develop. You know what I mean? He's not in that kind of position.
Yeah, I still see it happening.
Yeah, I agree. Well, thank you guys very much. I appreciate y'all dearly.
AJ, appreciate you, big dog. Really do, man. Don't be a stranger.
All right, peace.
Let me clarify. I don't think Hugh Freeze is getting fired. I just think he wants to play better and put Auburn in a position.
You're right. His career is ticking. Like he's got to get this thing going. He's got to get up to this plateau where he's comfortable in what he's doing and not trying to fill in or, I guess fill in is the right word. a filler.
Yeah, trying to fill gaps, right, with transfer portal players. That's where he wants to get out of that situation.
Right.
We are all caught up on calls.
Okay, cool. It's a great topic because it'll make you think. But I don't think either one of us think Peyton and Robbie come back next year. Let's not forget about Holden Gurner. But I'm with you, Jhead. Either one of those two guys have solidified themselves as the dude, or he's going to go get somebody else until Holden or Henry or Walker is ready.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed. I feel like this is a staff that is not having to necessarily, you're not putting a staff together, so you're going to have a better feel for who's going into the portal. You're going to have a better feel of what you need from the quarterback position. And if one of these young men are not able to provide that for you, I promise you, man, they're going to go get somebody. They will do what they have to do to get somebody to come in and be able to take this offense to another level.
Do we have any chat? I know Zach's been busy, man. He's had to come to the front, so he's not in the back taking but Buddy Colt. That must be pretty easy to do, Zach. You just click on
I just star them. We don't have many. There's one that's probably going to take a minute because it's just like our thoughts on national college football right now. So I'll probably end the show on that one. But there's a few good questions.
All right. Well, Buddy Colt wants to know, do you see Henry Hank Brown getting any snaps at all this year, maybe in a blowout? I do not. Absolutely not. Holden will get those snaps.
Red shirt city, baby.
Yeah. Caleb Wolford wants to know, can y'all talk about Ryan Williams? Sure. Mentioned him a little earlier, the 2025, potentially 2024 five-star wide receiver who's committed to Alabama. He was in Auburn again last weekend for the Georgia game, spent the night, spent the better part of Sunday with Hugh Freeze, with Philip Montgomery, along with his father, Ryan Williams, the former three-star defensive back from BC Rain in Mobile, who signed with Auburn. Yes. Frederick 90 says he's likely to reclassify. Yeah, so did we. That's the plan. And as I said on the message board, Auburn hopes he does because they need him now. They need him next year. They don't need him 2 years from now. And Auburn thinks they have a shot to flip this kid from Alabama. They really do.
And then there's only one more question as of right now.
I'm getting there as far as Ryan Williams goes. Just wanted to throw that out there. Stephen Keel. Oh, you think I said that right? Stephen Kyle? Kevin Keel.
I think it's Keel.
I think it's Keel as a last name and Kyle as a first name. When spelled that way. Because remember, Kyle Frazier spelled his name that way.
He sure did, didn't he?
No offense, Stephen. No offense. Don't take that personally.
Let's go Stephen K. just to be safe.
There we go.
Almost halfway through the year. What do you guys national view of college football? To me, talked with my dad about this, man, the parity, and that word is used a lot but I mean, it's the best way to describe the parity right now. I don't know if that's NIL, if that's the transfer portal, if it's a combination of both, but there's not any really unbeatable teams, are there?
So I would have said that until UGA this past weekend.
Okay.
What they put on tape against Kentucky. Granted, Kentucky was tailor-made to get absolutely destroyed by Georgia. When you want to run downhill, like, look, Auburn was able to rush the football against Georgia. They did it in unconventional ways, and they were going a lot of sideline to sideline, a lot of horizontal action, a lot of eye candy. Kentucky wants to line up and run it right at you. That is just tailor-made to get your ass handed to you by Georgia. But Georgia looked really dominant in that game. I thought Carson Beck has taken a step forward. I was very impressed by what he did. Oregon, to me, what happens against Oregon and Washington this week in the Pac-12, that is going to be a hell of a game, guys. Shocked at what happened to Texas. Did not see Oklahoma making the move that they made this past weekend. And that FSU team, like they were super impressive week one, right, with that LSU win. How impressive is that win now? Is it as impressive? I don't think so either. And I'm with you, Jeffrey. I think it's a combination of NIL and the portal that more talent is spread out than it ever has been. And I also think the SEC does not have a dominant quarterback and a dominant defense paired together this year.
Right on.
You know what I mean? Like typically, like you have seen a dominant quarterback and a dominant defense paired together. You don't have that this year, and it's kind of opened things up some. So nationally speaking, there are more players that are relevant at this time of the year.
Huh.
Yeah. The Pac-12 is probably decided this weekend with how bad USC looked last night.
Oh,
In that, I mean, they tried every which way to lose that game last night. I mean, Oregon and Washington are probably the two best teams, especially with Washington State falling off this weekend to UCLA. I mean, they got dominated. Chip Kelly put on a clinic. But I will say with Jhead, I think the two best teams right now are Georgia and Michigan, and I don't know if it's particularly close after you get past those. I mean, Michigan
They're up here.
Yeah, Michigan is that good. I mean, they returned everybody from that team last year. The offensive line is just as good. Corum's healthy now. The backup running back got to start in the playoff in the college football playoff run, so he has a bunch of experience. And listen, I know McCarthy gets a lot of hate. The kid's just a winner, man. I mean, he might not be like a Jaden Daniels or a Michael Penix throwing for 500 yards a game, but he just goes out there and does what he needs to do when he's corrected kind of his turnovers. Man, Michigan's going to be tough to beat. I think those are the two best teams in college football right now. And then you got like that tier 2 where it's the like Ohio States, the Penn States, the Washingtons, the Oregons, the USCs, those type of teams. But I think it's going to be Michigan and Georgia until it's not.
I agree. Now, you guys give me your top 4 playoff teams. Like, who do you think is going to rep it at the end of the day? I mean, I kind of got mine at the back of my head, but Jeffrey, we'll start with you, Zach, and then I'll give.
I'll start with both of your. I would start with Georgia and Michigan.
Yep.
I think the winner of the game of Oregon and Washington this week. I like Oregon.
I do too.
I got those in my playoff, and you know what? I'll be honest with you. I would have had Texas a week ago had you asked me.
Agreed. And I don't default automatically to Oklahoma. I think
me neither.
I think I go to Florida State because the resume is better at this point, but
And the schedule's probably weaker.
They aren't going to have any competition.
Yeah, they're going to be undefeated at the end of the year.
The ACC is atrocious.
well,
Unless they implode.
Yeah, they'll get North Carolina probably in the championship game.
Yeah.
So you'll have a win against, and then they'll get a sad Florida program. Sorry, Keith.
Yeah, they're going to beat Florida to death.
R.I.P. dog.
And I do think I'm with Zach here. Right now, if you ask me, I've got Michigan winning it all.
I tend to gravitate that way. Georgia 3-peat, I don't know that I can trust it just yet.
If I will say this, if Beck continues, because Beck's kind of on like this upward trajectory, if he continues to improve, and by week 12, the SEC championship, he's really clicking, Georgia's going to be because that defense is there, and that defense is there with a bunch of injuries too. Yeah. If they get healthy and Beck starts to improve, Georgia could be a problem by the end of the season.
I'm glad we brought him when we did.
Who's Georgia playing in the championship, SEC championship?
Alabama.
Yeah, I think Bama now. LSU doesn't have the defense. They're going to get someone's going to catch. I think LSU gets called again. A&M isn't consistent enough, and there's no one else in the West that I don't trust Lane Kiffin in big games. Like Lane Kiffin's not going to win all the games that he needs to down the stretch.
No,
Alabama would have to lose 2.
Yeah,
that's right.
Because they have wins. Because the LSU game will be interesting, but LSU already has that SEC loss, and so Bama's got to lose multiple times. So they already got the head-to-head over A&M. And they got the head-to-head over Ole Miss.
I'm telling you right now, Ole Miss is tailor-made to frustrate a top-tier team. That's the way they're built, right? The way they're constructed with the offensive philosophy that Lane Kiffin has. But they are going to go someplace. And I predict it's Auburn this year, and they're going to get beat by somebody they're not supposed to. That's the way that team is built. Lane will go 9-3, and they'll be Citrus Bowl good. You know what I mean? But that's about the extent of it. And I think LSU's probably looking 9-3, right? I'm with you, Zach. They're going to lose another one. A&M's probably 8-4 type team this year, which is enough to save Jimbo, much to my dismay. And I think Auburn's probably going to come in there fifth at 7-5. I think that's where we sit this year. But yeah, I think it's going to be Bama from the West, Georgia from the East. There's nobody that can touch Georgia.
Nobody in the SEC.
No, I mean, you saw Missouri was, I guess, the next best team that they're going to play that's in the East. And you saw what LSU did to them. What do you think Georgia's going to do to them in Athens?
And then you got to go that road game with Tennessee, but Tennessee hasn't been impressive this year. Joe
Man,
Milton has not been the guy they thought he was.
They have let me down. I thought Tennessee was going to be better than this.
Joe Milton's been about what I thought he was going to be.
Okay.
Look, he hit some big plays. I mean, he has got unreal arm talent, right?
Yes.
Unreal. But he just is inconsistent, and he always has been. And sometimes you just are what you are. And I think they're scheming around that. Now, I will say this. I'll give him the Dion line. You better get him now.
Oh, Nico's coming.
Nico's coming, and that kid he's for real, man.
And you can see that. I think that's Heupel's recruiting pitch. If you look at their recruiting class, they're recruiting some wide receivers, Mike Matthews, and there was I think they got another one out of Georgia as well. Man, they're recruiting wide receivers at a high rate. And the pitch for Heupel is come play with this guy.
Yeah.
Don't worry. This is a rebuild year. We might go 9-3, which is a good rebuild year. But guess what? Next year, this is the guy you want to play with.
I
agree. All right. Well, hey, on an off week, not a bad hour show. Had some great callers, man. Had some really good callers with some great questions, some very insightful and make you think questions. Let's see who got to start. Oh, Cole from Knoxville. My goodness, it was the Cole show there for a while. He had some really good stuff, man. I wish Cole Pinkston would have been here for Cole from Knoxville because that was right up his alley. Paul from Hartsville managed to take a deep breath and get in on the second try, I might add. But we appreciate his persistence. Oh, Henderson from Shelbyville with a guaranteed Auburn over LSU this weekend. Same with Kevin from Wilmer. Got both of those guys have Auburn upsetting LSU in Baton Rouge Saturday night. And then AJ got his first call, broke the champagne bottle over the bow. Got his first call in. I was going to say something else.
I liked it.
Yeah. Hey, we appreciate everybody, man. That was a great show. We will be back. We'll be back Wednesday afternoon for our recruiting show on Auburn Live on 3. If you haven't gotten a subscription to Auburn Live on 3, do so now, man. $1 for the first month. You really can't beat it. It's like a cute puppy. We will be back next week, of course, talking about Auburn's big upset over LSU, according to Henderson and Kevin.
Yep.
We'll have a modcast on Friday. We will be covering this Auburn LSU game all the way through this week. We'll also be looking out for any of the recruiting news, which we could have some in the next few days, one way or another. I'm not saying any commitments. I don't know of any commitments, but there will be news. As a matter of fact, CJ Jackson, decommitted from Georgia Tech. He is scheduled to be in Auburn next week for the Ole Miss game. It's going to be a lot of Ole Miss game visitors. So, all right, we appreciate everybody listening, man. We appreciate everybody watching. One more time, Auburn Oprah Like. If you're looking for a real estate agent, give her a call. Jessica Andrews with the Talents Group, 334-704-4442. She's a 5-star realtor. I'll wrap it up, folks. Thanks so much for listening. Thanks so much for watching. For Jhead, for Zach in the back who came to the front, I'm Jeffrey Lee, man. Y'all stay out of that left lane.